things are different now. Our shared disruption and time for reflection, grounding our perspective. Rapid acceleration of trends, long underway, is where we now stand. Customer experiences and digital experiences merging to become one across every market, deep and wide. Digital interactions are now the primary way, if not the only way, customers engage. Here we are, standing at the edge of our new reality. Digital transformation isn't a choice anymore. Your customers demand it. Own this day. Experiment and explore with tools that are open, flexible, intelligent, and stable. Our expertise and open platform are designed to allow builders to say, what if? What can be? The journey ahead may be unknown, but this much we know. Seize this opportunity. Meet your customers where they are, and you will build a bridge to the future. For organizations around the world and the customers they serve, this is the path forward.
Hello and welcome to the latest in our Experience Acquia virtual event series. My name is Mark Jeffries and I'm delighted to return as your host. Today it's all about the unified experience. We're going to share more on our product updates, how we use them internally, and the initial results. You'll also get to hear from an amazing panel of CMOs, including Underwriter Laboratories and Panasonic, about how they've optimized their marketing strategies for today's world. Now, obviously, we are delighted you're here, and we'd love it if you would also be a part of the conversation. As we speak today, we want to hear about your own challenges and experiences. So don't forget to post, tweet, and share throughout using our hashtag Experience Acquia. There's also an opportunity to hear from each other via several polling questions that we will ask throughout the program. How do you access the polling question, you may ask? Well, it's quite simple. On the right-hand side of the screen, you'll see the chat window. At the top, you'll see two little icons. One of them is a check mark. If you click the check mark, you will see the most current polling question. Easy. At the end of today's program, we'll be answering your questions live. So submit them in the box below the live stream window anytime you like. Oh, and by the way, today we'll be giving away a personalization workshop to one lucky attendee. This is everything you need to know about how to take your personalization strategy to the next level. We'll be reaching out after the event to the lucky winner. Could be you. First up today, we are going to hear from CMO at Acquia, Lynn Capozzi. She's about to give us a glimpse at how Acquia uses its own DXP to build a more engaging customer experience across all touchpoints. Lynn, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. I'm excited to be here today to talk with you about the unified experience. So customer expectations for a wonderful experience are getting higher and higher. And as a marketer, we face certain challenges trying to create this best unified experience. I wanted to just talk with you a little bit about what some of those challenges are, and then how I, as a marketer, have overcome these challenges by using Acquia products. And I'll walk you through an example of how we use Acquia products to do this unified experience. Today's customers have more sophisticated demands for digital experiences, especially the past year where everything has tremendously gone so digital. It's not enough just to have the information about what your customer has done, but marketers really need to step into their customer's shoes and anticipate their future needs or wants. Every customer wants to feel like they're the only one, right? We know that customers today want that same type of TLC digitally as what they receive in person. So they're requiring responsiveness and scalability and security, no friction. They want self-serve and they want convenience. However, with more interaction points, more content types, and digital moments in the mix, predicting customer behavior and the next best action to take becomes increasingly more complicated, making it really difficult for companies and marketers to deliver that true unified experience. As marketers, we have a variety of different pain points. We're under a lot of pressure to deliver an experience that today's consumers have come to expect, despite this increase in interaction points and content types, which have only accelerated more since people have gone digital. All of these new ways of engagement make it hard for marketers to predict the next best action to take. The effort becomes even more challenging when you think about the relationship that you have to have between IT and marketing, and needing to make sure that we're satisfying that relationship and that the organizations are working well together. And campaigns are costly, more costly now than they've ever been. So we need to make sure that as marketers, we're improving our profitability and we're improving our campaign management. So let me ask a poll at this point. You get your hands out to the keyboard. Let me ask you this. Do you relate to those pain points that I just mentioned, and how do you think you relate to them? I'll give you a minute to answer. And we'll be back at the end during the Q&A, and during the Q&A, I'll talk about what the results were of the polls. Today's businesses need a platform that supports all the personas who play a role in building a great customer experience and in building a digital experience platform. So Acquia is uniquely positioned where we have the digital experience solutions to fulfill the needs of all of the personas, from experienced designers to CIOs, developers, digital marketers, to name a few. Sometimes it takes a village to develop this great digital experience. So we are unique in providing the digital solutions that meet the needs of all of the marketers, IT developers, and so forth, all the way through this wheel, if you will. So we have low-code tools, making creating websites very easy. And also we have enterprise scalability and security that makes a solution suitable and acceptable by IT. But at this point, I really just want to talk a little bit about kind of the Drupal Cloud and Marketing Cloud. And the way to think of it is that the core of the experience, we must have a single source of truth for content. Basically think about it as how we engage. And a single source of truth for data, how we understand, so that anyone in the organization can create content and access data. Both of these are critical and equally important when it comes to customer engagement. They make up the core of a digital experience platform from Acquia. I always like to think of it when you're creating your website is your voice to the world. It's your brand. It's how you're relaying yourself. It's how you're talking to your customers and your prospects. And the core of the digital experience platform starts with your website. I always like to say that your site sells while you sleep, and it is your voice. It's your brand that you're taking out to the world. And so really important that you make sure you have your website is reflecting your brand and your brand value. So where are you at with your own website? Are you in the process of doing a website redesign? If you could answer this poll for me. I've been telling people a lot, if you haven't redone your site in the past 2 to 3 years, it's probably time that you take a look at doing that. It may not be true in every industry, but most industries is probably true. More and more people are content binging. People are going online. You need to make sure that you've got the right content, that your website has the right value, that you have the right look to support those customers and prospects that are coming to you. So at Acquia, we recently went through a website replatforming. I just did it. We've had some awesome results. And how did I do it? We used our own low-code solution, Site Studio, and Drupal 9. We also streamlined our whole journey mapping. So we are based by persona, and I was able to then support what I call kind of the researcher journey. So people that are coming onto the site who want to gather product information and research on their own. So we did a lot of journey mapping, we streamlined that, and we made sure that we provided a lot of content at each of the phase of the researcher's journey. We also will be able to put personalization on top of that. So now by using Site Studio and Drupal 9 and personalization for my Acquia solution, I was able to personalize so when people come into the site, they have personalized web content. And how did I do? So we've had some great results on our site. I can already tell just from a couple of months in, all of our results are increasing. So we've had more organic search results. It drove more users to our site. The users visited more unique pages and spent more time on the pages, and the visitors are converting more. So every aspect that I had of my KPIs or my goals are increasing based on our new site. So couldn't be more pleased with it. All right, what else am I doing? I'm supporting my demand generation team by making sure that we have a single source of truth, and we're unifying our data across the board for what we're using for marketing. So I'm utilizing the Acquia CDP, or Customer Data Platform, to unify our data. And these are a variety of different data sources that we use internally. So we're using other products to unify our data across Built With, Inside View. I use Salesforce and Acquia Campaign Studio for our marketing automation. So with a single source of truth within our data, we can hyper segment our audiences, building and pushing the segment across multiple channels for a personalized campaign. It includes custom segments for email marketing with Campaign Studio, customer reports in Salesforce, so I can support the reps' outbound efforts, custom segments within our ABM platform 6 Sense, so I can do targeted display efforts and ads to particular personas that are looking at and using that as intent data. Custom audience segments with Acquia Personalization to uniquely cater on the experiences through things like aligning our content pages or relevant case studies, custom workshops or webinars or unique call to actions. So we've had some great results. And the one thing that I love about it the most is that I'm putting the power into the hands of the demand gen team. My marketers are now using these tools. They're able to build ad hoc campaigns. They're able to segment out our customers. And really the campaigns that we're seeing right now are much, much more effective. So just one campaign to highlight as an example where we had more leads. I had an incredible conversion rate from a marketing qualified lead to a sales accepted lead, new opportunities, and obviously new business. So, and now that my demand gen team can recreate those campaigns and can do ad hoc segmenting across the board using, again, the customer data platform for a single source of truth. So if you want to develop your own digital experience platform, what's kind of my suggestion? Here are just some, I'll give you like a checklist of things to think about. So first is make sure you know what your KPIs are. Make sure you know what your goals are so that you know how to measure. Evaluate your org structure to make sure that you're supporting what you want to do with this new rollout of your digital experience platform. Start small, get some small wins while you work towards kind of building that grander vision. Make sure you set up your tracking reporting, and share those reports so other people in the org are aware of the success that you're having. And these small wins are going to help you with the grander vision. So I hope this was helpful for you today. And now, Mark, back to you.
Lynn, thank you so much. It's amazing to see how Acquia has leveraged its own solutions and the success that you've seen so far through user engagement and achieving your Q1 goals. Clearly, the numbers don't lie. All right, let's talk marketing investment now and strategy as we look further into 2021. I'm joined by 3 amazing CMOs. We have Kathy Siegebrecht, Senior Vice President and CMO of Underwriter Laboratories, UL. Also, Lauren Salata joins us, CMO of Panasonic Corporation of North America. And I'm delighted that Lynn Capozzi, of course, CMO of Acquia, is with us as well. So welcome to all of you. Before we start, Kathy and Lauren, I'd love to just hear a bit more about yourselves and your organizations. Lauren, I'll start with you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Mark. My name is Lauren Salata. I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for Panasonic Corp of North America. I've been in the role for just about 5 years. And I lead a team of marketers across the region in Canada and the US. And we are the main corporate team for this region. And we have about 150 people strong, both in the corporate group as well as in the region business units. And we're focused predominantly on brand, demand, and comms, and probably lots of other things that come along, not unlike other CMOs.
It sounds like you have a very full plate. And Kathy?
Hi, thank you so much. Glad to be here. Kathy Siegebrecht, CMO at UL. We are also a global company, and I'm responsible for marketing globally. We operate in about 100 companies. Many of you know us by the little mark you might see on some of your products, the UL in the circle, which means we've either verified a claim about that product or we've certified it. But I think to describe what UL is all about, we're a safety science company. We've been in business for about 127 years. Our core services that we deliver are testing, inspection, and certification services. And as that definition of safety has expanded over the last couple of decades, so has our services. So we're moved into security, sustainability, and supply chain services. So lots to keep us busy. It's a great and growing company. We are privately held and based globally out of Chicagoland area.
Fabulous. Thank you so much. Great. Now we all know each other. So let's talk about the business. So 2020 into 2021, I'd love to start by asking you, what are the top 3 areas of your highest marketing investment, and how do you prioritize that spend? Lynn, if you don't mind, I'll start with you.
Sure, Mark. No problem. So I think there are top couple of areas. One would be certainly around demand generation and making sure that we have our sellers, stacked with leads and so forth, to make sure we have a lot of demand gen. Another area that I focus on for spend actually is in content and content creation. And so it's a big area of emphasis for us this year, because with everyone content binging, with everyone kind of going to the internet to be able to research and gather information, we need to make sure that we've got the right level of content, and I put the right level of support and demand dollars behind that content as well. I'd say another kind of area of investment for us which is new this year is also around things like peer reviews, to make sure that we have support, so that as these researchers are going out gathering more information or checking with their peers or other companies, that they're getting the right level of information from people that are using our products and people that are happy with our products. So those are a couple of the areas this year.
Fascinating, Lynn. Thank you for that. Kathy, you've heard what Lynn had to say. Is it a similar story at UL?
Yeah, so it's certainly all of those things. But as we've gone more digital over the last year and transitioned from live events and trade shows into digital events, we're really prioritizing a lot of our spend on marketing technology. So I'd say first and foremost, we are doing an undertaking review of our entire MarTech stack with a third-party provider. So that'll help us focus and hopefully find efficiencies in our spend. But that's really going to be our starting point. And then we'll jump into a roadmap of migrating more of our regional and our acquisition websites and digital properties onto our ul.com and our Acquia platform. So that's a really big project for us this year. And then lastly, I'd say we've got kind of a renewed focus on infrastructure and security, primarily because you've got to do that, right? Consolidate and mitigate risk, but really to manage compliance and make sure we've got the right level of governance in place.
For sure. Yeah, Lauren, it's tough now for you because you've heard all of these different priorities. But from a Panasonic perspective, how has the marketing spend changed, especially as you look forward to the second half of 21 and beyond?
Absolutely. So like Kathy said, we went a little bit ahead of her a few years back with our digital transformation and build out of our MarTech stack for the enterprise. So now we're in the mode of actually optimizing that. So heavy focus on demand generation for our businesses. Parts of what Lynn mentioned, obviously heavying up on content is super important to keep that engine running. But one of the areas that we're also focused on heavily is brand awareness and brand favorability. And we set out about 2 years ago to really double down on the changing demographics that may not already have a relationship with our brand. So featuring and focusing work around millennials and Gen Z, building a relationship with them and measuring along 4 vectors of favorability, intent to purchase, awareness, and intent to potentially work at the company. So that's really where we've been mostly focused. And of course, all of that supported by strategic communications with each of those campaigns and elements that we're driving.
Fabulous. Thank you, Lauren. Let me stay with you for the next talking point. I wanted to talk about the tools and the technology that for you are top of mind as you think about, driving higher engagement and, of course, a better customer experience. And also based on that, are you structuring your teams at Panasonic in any different ways?
Absolutely. So as I mentioned, we went through a big digital transformation about, 4 years ago. And so we built out on Drupal and the Acquia infrastructure and ecosystem. And we've really been, since that time, beyond original implementation in improvement and really focused on experience optimization. So we have a build, measure, learn methodology for how we continue to change our site. So a little less based on preferences and a little bit more based on data, continuing to enhance the platform. One of the technologies that we introduced about, 6 months or so ago with CES, which went all digital for the first time, we pivoted off of the platform and built out a conversational marketing POC. So we are really looking at ways to continue to shorten the distance between an inquiry and a prospect getting information and getting directly to somebody that can help them out. So we saw really great results with that POC that we did with the conversational marketing technologies, and so we're excited to build that into more of a production environment.
Lauren, thank you. Kathy, it is all about agility, isn't it? When you're looking at the tools, the technology, when you're shifting the team around, it's constantly about finding how we can do things better and faster. How far would you agree?
Oh, definitely agree. And, as this group would know in this audience, that the digital and marketing ecosystem is ever evolving, right? So to drive that customer experience, bridge the gap between data and data insights, and really layer in that artificial intelligence and machine learning. So really what you're trying to do is find that next right action, right? And it's so important that you get that while you've got the buyer in your ecosystem or potential buyer. And Lauren mentioned Gen Z, they are especially hypersensitive and about that customer experience and making sure it's relevant to them. So we have significant projects around all of that to drive that, everywhere from web analytics to marketing automation to CRM and master data management. So all significant components. So a really big change for us this year. We were invested in the Acquia personalization engine, but I would say we haven't fully utilized it. But we hope through the end of this work, we will be able to do that and really make sure that we're getting the right people at the right time. And to answer your question about structure, certainly form follows structure. So form follows function. And so we did a complete reorganization as of January 1. We had the opportunity to really design the marketing organization from the ground up, which was truly a gift and a lot of work. So we've got a brand activation team, which is responsible for filling that top of funnel with thought leadership, brand content, driving the brand building. We've got a really significant, and it's the first time we've had it unified, a campaign strategy and demand generation team. So one group for around the world to manage all of that, and they're really responsible for completely filling that funnel and then converting those leads. We've obviously got a marketing operations team, which we've slimmed down and put a lot of responsibility for our web platform into our demand team, because that's really what it is, our most critical demand driver. So that was a really big move for us. And then we've got this whole strategic marketing team, which includes, they're responsible for strategy and laying the plans. We've got an industry marketing team, a product marketing team, a partner marketing team, and a customer marketing team. So we feel like we've really got some new strong components, and we're really just in the process of standing that model up and learning how we work best together. But really excited about what that'll deliver for us once we get all the technology in place.
Kathy, I just want to pick you up on one element of your answer. You talked about January the 1st, just rebuilding your entire marketing team. That's a huge bet and it's a huge ask. What drove that? And how much support did you get from the business as you went through that process?
So very fortunate in that it followed a new strategy. We launched a new strategy last fall and changed our operating model pretty comprehensively as an organization. It allowed us to unify marketing in one function. So it used to be decentralized and centralized. And so now it's one team. And so we went through a really thorough design process and just started from scratch. If you could build an organization, what would you build? Irregardless of people in boxes, what capability do you need? Who needs to work together? RACI charts for everything. What are the processes? And it was Herculean, but it was really fun. I mean, really a once in a lifetime opportunity.
Oh, for sure. You could probably write a book about it. Well, congratulations on that alone.
Let's hope it's successful.
Yeah, right. Fingers crossed. Lynn, inspiring stories from our guests here on the panel. But of course, you do live in a world surrounded by tools and technologies. I'd love to get the Acquia side of this answer as well.
Yeah, sure. So we, one of the things that I've been doing is taking our technology that we have available to us, as Acquians, and making sure that we provide that tech into the hands of my marketers. So now, for instance, I just replatformed our whole site. I obviously use personalization, and I use our Campaign Studio product for campaign management. I've installed a customer data platform that we're using. But the nice benefit for me and the team is that my demand gen team can be right there creating landing pages for the site as they do their demand gen programs. I can have the product marketers going in there and directly making content changes on the product marketing pages. And same thing for my events team. They actually can, do direct changes and additions to the site as they want to. So really kind of putting that technology in the hand of the marketers and making sure that, we kind of spread that across the board, and we're really, we're getting some great results from it, as I talked about a little bit earlier in my presentation.
Yeah, it's very empowering, isn't it? I love that. By the way, I'm a huge fan of your events team. Don't tell them, but I am. Now, I have to ask you about strategy. And Lauren, I'm going to turn this one to you. Are there any strategic things going on that kind of swirl around your marketing world that are really impacting the business?
Indeed, this year is probably a big one for that. As of April 1st, when we started our new fiscal year, we have a new CEO in our parent corporation in Japan, and he's just rolling out his message and point of view. We've also are moving towards a new holding company structure, which will take effect this time next year. And we've just recently made some very strategic acquisitions, and along the way, as most companies do, decommission parts of the portfolio that are ready to go. So lots of big macro events happening, and all very exciting. And I think what's great about my team and what we've been able to do, leveraging a lot of this technology, is always staying ahead and being agile in terms of our strategic moves and how they impact our customers, our partners, and our employees. So EX, CX, and DX are always at the top of our guiding principles in everything that we do. So it's all about building value for our customers and capturing that for the business as well. So lots going on this year.
Fabulous, thank you. Kathy, I'll turn the same question over to you, but it's interesting, isn't it? This whole idea of change being a transitory thing, and at some point we'll get to the end of all this change. It's not going to happen, is it? We have to be ready every step of the way.
Yeah, it's not going to happen. And so as I thought about that question when you asked Lauren, there's a few headlines that struck me about changes in our business, and really marketing has to follow suit and support those. So we're digitizing marketing, of course, but the businesses are driving digitization, especially with COVID and with the pandemic. So we have a lot of services that we delivered in person, auditing facilities and doing inspections. And so we had to figure out how to deliver those services remotely and do it digitally. And so marketing was a really big partner in helping the businesses figure out how they do that, and then of course to market that. Counterfeit products is a big one for us. They can easily go unchecked on third-party marketplaces and e-commerce platforms, and it's important to UL because in many cases our certification mark is on those products, and so they may not be on real product that we actually certified, and that's important for our brand. So it's very important for marketing. But the other flip side of that is it's up to us now to help market customers promote those marks in an efficacy way. So really help them market the work that they do with us, so they can try and and sell real products versus the counterfeit products. So a lot of pieces around counterfeit that we do. Then the last one I'd say is marketing claims. You see so many marketing claims out there. They're big and they're robust and they're not true and they may not be proven or believable. There's some that are, of course, but consumers want confidence and trust in the products that they buy. And UL offers a measurement of claims in a scientific way, and then put a marketing claim on that product. So we're working with customers to be able to do that and make sure consumers understand and believe the marketing claims that they make about their products, which are true.
And that really is just a continuing conversation between you and the customers, the entire team.
Yeah.
Excellent. Lynn, I'm going to move the questioning on now and really ask you to think back across the last 12, 14 months. Can you summarize that whole year and a bit in a single sentence? And what's one thing you're really proud of, and maybe one thing that you kind of would like to forget?
Well, let's see. Trying to summarize it in one sentence could be difficult for me. I am a marketer, but I would say that probably, it was the year of change. There was so much change that was going on, I would say, everywhere. So with the entire world going digital, we had so many customers that were, that was their single source of being able to communicate with their consumers and with their customers. So I think it was just such a huge year of change, I would say, in that way. The thing that I am the proudest of for the team and for the company from the past year is actually how we rallied to support our customers. So when the entire world again was going digital, we were very proactive with what we did with our customers. So, organizations that were in the pharmaceutical area, the state of New York, any organization that had an impact around the pandemic, we were there to help and support them right away. We didn't stop and ask questions. We opened up the doors. We made sure that their sites were ready to go and that they could support all the traffic surges that happened. And I really think that we made an impact and across the globe. And so super, super, super proud of that. And what was your other question? There was a third part, I think.
The other question was, is there something, I almost don't want to end on a negative because that was so good, but was there something you kind of wished you could just forget?
Well, probably a lot around the pandemic, but I'll try to just kind of focus it on the company in my role. I think there's one thing that we did. We rolled out a new tool, talking all about technology. We rolled out a new tool that was an outbounding tool for the sales department, and we went too slow. So we went too slow, it took us too long. I should have just ripped the Band-Aid and done it right away and moved faster. So, and then just kept testing. So in hindsight, that's how we'll do all the tools going forward. But that was probably the one, as I look back on it, that's probably one thing I should have done differently.
Yeah. But what's interesting is people will remember for a long, long time that you were there during the most uncertain times. You were there straight away with communication, with ideas, with help. That doesn't get forgotten. Lynn, thank you for that answer. Kathy, same one to you. So how would you summarize the year in a sentence, and things you're proud of, or maybe something you wish you hadn't done?
Yeah, thank you. So not too dissimilar from Lynn's, but I think I'd steal from our 2020 annual report title to summarize the year. It was a year of evolution, growth, and resilience in a time of great change. And I think that word great can't be emphasized enough. So I think about what I'm proud of. I mentioned it earlier, but marketing really quickly shifted from live trade shows, which we were hugely dependent on, and in-person events, to webinars and digital content. And in the end, we did it lower cost with higher ROI, more leads, and higher conversion rates. So it felt really good. Face-to-face will always be important, and we're going to have to rethink that mix going forward, but I would definitely put that down as my proud list. And as a company, we're responsible in marketing at UL for communications as well. So while we really adapt our services during the pandemic, we also, like Lynn mentioned, did a really great job of supporting our employees in a very tumultuous year. You add the pandemic with social unrest and other impacts that were happening around the world. And we got really good feedback about it. So I feel good about the communications, but at the same time, something maybe we could have done better in hindsight. I think that we could have been more localized and maybe more surgical with our approach to messaging to our employees, because it really is unique by region, what you see happening in India and South Asia right now, very unique to them. And so in some cases may have been just a little too broad brush. So I would do that differently if I could go back.
True, but so understandable. You've got to get messaging out there, and sometimes you have to generalize just to get something out. But of course, your point's a really good one. Being local, very smart. And finally, on this question, Lauren.
Thank you. My sentence would be: modern business has been forever redesigned. I am incredibly proud of my direct team, as well as my extended team and our community of practice across the region in North America. Collectively, they moved mountains to stand up a completely digital sales enablement set of tools and programs, going completely all digital with CES, which is an enormous trade show for us that, as you know, is usually hundreds of thousands of people in Las Vegas in person. We pivoted an entire brand campaign and moved it online with Olympic athletes, where we had based a lot of the plans on in-person events. And really, and I think this was one of the most important pieces, made sure that we put the employees at the center of everything that we did. So really, really ramped up employee comms in a big way. And I sort of joked with my team 2 months into the pandemic, it feels like we've done a year's worth of work already in 2 months. But it was really super important to lead that work and to make sure it was done the right way. I think it paid dividends in terms of engagement across the organization, and really just kind of helped us drive a culture of understanding and resilience across the organization relative to the effects of the pandemic, and really just understanding what people were going through in their personal lives. So really kind of resetting our culture around that and taking that opportunity to do that. And I think the one thing I regret mostly is just not getting up out of my chair often enough and walking around. I think there was a lot of intense days and long hours, and my back is paying the price for that this year.
Oh, without a doubt. I would go downstairs sometimes at the end of the day and say to my wife, I haven't even gone outside today. It was insane.
Exactly.
Right. Our Our time's up, but we always like to end with a quick, tiny bit of fun. So the bit of fun question today is, what is your pet peeve from the meetings that we all have to do the whole time? A certain phrase that you just don't want to hear again. I'll start. I hate the phrase, can we park that? You park a car, you don't park an idea. Okay, that's me. Lauren.
Unpack. Just no.
Yeah, let's unpack this. You unpack clothes. Kathy?
Exactly.
Can marketing make it pretty? Very offensive. We do so much more than make things pretty.
How dare they?
Right?
And Lynn, last one for you.
Right. I'm done pivoting. I'm going to put the pivot word away.
Brilliant. Oh my goodness. Well, Kathy Siegerbrecht, Lawrence Salata, Lynn Capozzi, thank you all so much for joining us for this amazing CMO discussion. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Thanks, guys. All right, next up, looking at the latest on our recent product enhancements, I'm going to hand it over now to Karen Wood, Senior Director of Product Marketing, and Eric Fullerton, Lead Product Evangelist, Product Marketing Principal at Acquia. Karen and Eric, over to you.
Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Now, today I'm going to be joined by Karen Wood, Senior Director of Product Marketing, and we are going to talk about how we're bringing it all together. Talking about Acquia's Drupal Cloud and Marketing Cloud and some of the new product updates and features that we're bringing to market. So before I do that, I want to just spend 1 minute talking about this concept of digital experience and digital experience platforms. It can seem like something that's really vast and complex and difficult to understand. But what I want to talk about is the two key components that make up every experience. On one hand, you have a single source of truth for digital content. And that's the how we engage. And on the other, a single source of truth for data. And that's how we understand. So both of these are critically and equally important when it comes to customer engagement. And it's our belief that they are the two areas that make up the core of digital experience. And that's really the way we've organized our platform. Our OpenDXP focuses on solving these content and data challenges with respective clouds focused on solving each one. Now, within each cloud, there's different packaged solutions that provide business capabilities to create, manage, and optimize digital experiences at scale. Now, of course, there's integrations across these clouds and within each cloud, as you'll hear about in just a moment, but it also includes the ability to connect to any other system using Acquia's DXP as the central hub to compose and deliver new digital experiences to any channel. So I'm going to talk about some really exciting updates that are taking place within our Drupal cloud to make it easier to create content online for marketers and non-technical users. What's great about Acquia is that we've been purpose-built for Drupal. And Drupal has this enterprise functionality, scalability, and this incredible flexibility. But our focus is really around making it easier to create and publish content at scale. And we believe that low-code, no-code tools that can sit on top of Drupal and other solutions are the future of digital content creation. And this is where Acquia Site Studio comes in. It's really the best of both worlds, getting that functionality and flexibility of Drupal, but a low-code approach to really solve that ease of use problem with Drupal. It's a low-code site builder, and it sits on top of Drupal to enable marketers, designers, and non-technical folks like myself to create and update pages. It's going to help expedite development timelines. It's going to be a way to reuse different features and content across pages. And there's all these roles and permissions so that people can contribute to digital work. And it's a really great way to combine that flexibility and power of Drupal with an easy-to-use, marketer-friendly solution. Now, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to use Acquia Site Studio, because today, our product marketing team is actually creating and building content and sites online. I've actually created one on acquia.com, and I'm actually going to go in and make an update and an edit using Acquia Site Studio. But before we do that, I just have a quick poll question because I'm curious for folks on the line. How often do you need to make edits to your website? So I'll give you a few seconds to go in, but I'm really excited to show you this demonstration because I think it really proves out just how easy and simple it is for someone like myself to go in to make some really quick edits and updates to a given page. All right, so thanks for answering the poll question. I'm gonna go in and actually show you what it's like to use Acquia Site Studio. So I recently just created this page myself on Acquia.com using Site Studio, and you can see it's around Acquia is the #1 CDP for retail. And I shared this out recently with some colleagues, and I got some great feedback, and I was feeling pretty good about it. And I was looking through the different page, and you can see all these different components. I think the site looks really good, the page looks good, the content looks good, but there's one specific image here that I don't really think maps to what the headline and what the text are saying, and it's this one here around a true 360 view of customer. So because I have the ability to create and update pages, I'm actually going to go in and make this change myself. So here I'm in Acquia Site Studio. I'm taking a look at the specific page that I just showed you, and I can see all the different content pieces or all the different components that are actually have made up the page. Now, if I wanted to, I could add new components or new content. Our web team has created all of these reusable components that are mapped to our design system. So I'm able to, not start from scratch, but actually just take all these pre-created components and use them and bring them in whenever. But like I said, I'm not going to add new content. All I want to do is change an image. So I'm going to go in here and click this feature, which is around the true 360 view of customer. And when I go in here, I can see the body text and the title. There's a call to action here. I can actually take a look at the style. If I wanted to, I could change the layout or even change the color. But all I really want to do is change the image, because I actually don't think this shows the value of a true 360 view of customer, which is really being able to target your customer more effectively. So I found an image I really like. I've already uploaded it. I'm searching for it here. Now, once I find it, all I have to do, click it, insert it, apply, and then I'm scrolling back up to the top to save and publish that experience. So I've already made that update to the site in real time because it's just that easy. Now, I really honestly didn't think it could get much easier, but our product team is actually super focused on making it even easier to use Site Studio. Now, we're really thinking about low code being really important, and no code is great, but you know what's even better? What you see is what you get. WYSIWYG experiences, and that's what our product team has delivered with this new visual builder in Site Studio. So you can see here, it's actually going through what the new experience looks like. Marketers and content creators are going to be able to see in real time what changes they're making to pages as it happens. So it's actually going to be even easier for them to make these updates, to organize the page, to make sure things look right and look proper. Now, that's really great, but for marketers and content creators and folks like myself who want to help and create and contribute to digital work. But this also helps free up developer resources to focus on more innovative and profit-driving activities like integrations, creating immersive digital experiences, and the delivery to emerging channels. But this idea around usability, ease of use, and making it really simple for everyone to access the different tools and solutions we have isn't just about Drupal Cloud. It goes for marketing too. Now, Karen, I'm going to pass it over to you to talk to some of the exciting updates in Acquia's Marketing Cloud.
Wonderful. Thank you, Eric. Yes, very excited to talk about Marketing Cloud. We have a lot of exciting enhancements too that I want to share with you. But now that you've seen how easy it is to build and edit sites using Site Studio, I thought I would actually take that lens and actually we would walk through other enhancements that have to do with making things easier to do for marketers with the products that we've recently rolled out and also are soon to roll out as well, giving you kind of a sneak peek. But before we go into all that, I wanted to level set with what exactly is in Marketing Cloud. So as a reminder for those of you who are probably already familiar, our Marketing Cloud is a combination of multiple products and integrated layers across those products. So at a very high level, in a nutshell, the Marketing Cloud is founded on our customer data platform. So it all starts with a unified data layer as the foundation of data and intelligence that serves all of Marketing Cloud. On top of that is a layer of machine learning, which helps marketers at scale quickly segment audiences, look for marketing opportunities, and really enhance what they deliver to customers across different channels. And also, on top of that, we have different ways that you can actually personalize with your customers. So sort of that last mile of engagement powered by data and intelligence from machine learning. So that includes Acquia Personalization, the website personalization solution, and also Acquia Campaign Studio, which allows you to build journeys and deliver those orchestrated email, SMS, and channel experiences. So that's kind of the stack of what our products provide. Now, the integrations that we have across there, what I'm really going to dive into today. So one is the analytical layer that really sits across all of those. And this has been part of the vision that we've had for Acquia Marketing Cloud for a long time. We have just announced some enhancements around that, so I'll dive into that in a second. And then the other piece that really spans everything else is our composability. And you've heard us talking about that a lot recently. And basically what that means is that at every layer, at every aspect, what you have for Marketing Cloud can be built with composability in mind. So basically you can compose the unique specifications into machine learning, into the data layer, into the way that you orchestrate experiences for whatever you need for your business or your brand. So it's composable at every layer throughout the stack. So that is, again, a recap of Marketing Cloud and what we actually provide. But I want to dive into analytics a little bit because we have some exciting things to talk about here. So really our analytical philosophy for Marketing Cloud and for Acquia DXP is to democratize data, making it really easy for all teams who need to access data, understand and interpret the data, and then use data to drive business decisions, just putting that data at their fingertips, making it really easy for those teams to access it and use it and action upon it. And with that, the types of analytics that we provide is pretty darn robust. If you look at, kind of the marketing tools that are out on the market, we have things that are built for these different personas and different teams. So we have dashboards and highly visual reporting interfaces for marketers and executives and board members, whoever needs to see like a high level, beautiful picture of the business in a visual way. We also have, for more technical marketers, an ad hoc analysis tool that allows you to directly query the tool and ask questions that you need to know that might not be part of the reporting interface. We also have the ability for data scientists and analysts to build their own queries and actually share that centralized database, the CDP data, with their own instance of Snowflake, and then use their own BI tools to explore the data, combine data sets with other data across the company, and really get into the data in a super rich way. And that is, again, our philosophy. We want data to be accessible and usable to the max for every team that needs to access it. So with that in mind, we have rolled out analytics, a new analytical capability for personalization customers. So Acquia Personalization now has all of the enhanced analytical capabilities that really we're building into the entire platform. So previously, these capabilities were basically just in the CDP, and now they're part of Acquia Personalization. So even if you're just a personalization customer and you're not using Acquia CDP, you can do all the really cool stuff with analytics that, again, was made possible originally through the CDP, and that includes cohort analysis, so being able to understand segments at the cohort level as they move and change over time, campaign reporting, cohort campaign reporting, interactive queries, which is that direct query tool to just be able to get in and use SQL if you're technically advanced in that way. And then, of course, the Snowflake data sharing I mentioned, where you can actually save your data with your own instance of Snowflake and then really explore the data, and your data teams can really get into it. So all of those capabilities are available for Acquia Personalization, and that is something that we kind of announced last quarter, but there's more coming on this that you're going to hear about really soon, and I wanted to give you a peek into that. So we're super excited. Also, we have coming soon, again, kind of a sneak peek here, our unified experience with our entire UI. So we are providing a centralized login, one experience that exists across Acquia Personalization, Acquia Campaign Studio, Acquia CDP, Acquia Analytics, a singular UI. So it's just really elegant and also a little more user-friendly too. So the unification is a part of it, but also just easier to use, easier to navigate, easier for teams who maybe don't have a ton of technical aptitude to get in and just really understand that. So again, a little bit of a sneak peek. We will definitely be communicating with all of our customers well in advance of rolling this out, but we're so excited about it, and you should be excited about it too. And then finally, I wanted to point out, it's a beautiful new UI, integrated experience, but it's also one, login experience. And so if you think about as a user using Acquia Personalization, getting in there, using those tools, it's easy to toggle back and forth between, personalization, campaign orchestration, journey building, CDP, whatever the workflows are that you need to do to get into, you can just easily flip among those in a pretty seamless manner. So our team has been working really hard on this stuff. We're really excited. We'll be announcing the bulk of this a little bit later, later on. But in the meantime, I wanted to give you guys a little preview into what's to come. So lots going on for Marketing Cloud, lots more to come, lots more information to come. But again, if you think this is exciting, just wait till you get the whole kit and caboodle into your hands and can really play around with it. And Mark, back over to you.
Karen, thank you very much. Also, thanks to Eric, who we'll be hearing from in just a moment because we're about to start our Q&A session. So please submit your questions for Lynn and for Eric in just a moment. But first, I'm going to reveal some of those poll results. We asked you a variety of polling questions. How do you relate to the pain points that were being discussed? 30% of you said, yep, relate to all of those. 66% said they relate to some of them. The other polling question, number 2, are you in the process of a website redesign? Over half of you, 53%, said yes, absolutely. 32% said no, not at the moment. And 14% said it's complicated. Why? I would like to know. And then the final polling question we asked you is, how often do you need to make edits to your website? 63% of you said every single week, and the remainder going with once a month. That's great insight. So let's open up our Q&A session. Lynn, Eric, welcome back. Great to see you. So Eric,
Thanks,
if you don't mind, I'll start with you. Great demo, by the way. I love that. It's great to see marketers being put in the driver's seat, right? Able to easily make site changes themselves. I'd love to know what response you've had from customers, especially when it comes to the impact it's had on their ability to be more agile.
Yes, so there's a couple different reactions I think that we get from customers. So marketers are super excited about this tool. Anyone who's part of the business experience, all the business users, they love it. They want to be able to do the things that I just did quickly and easily, be able to update sites. But what I will say is that sometimes there are some challenges with the marketing and IT team. They maybe are a little bit worried about giving that type of control to marketers. But once we have conversations with them about, there's a couple key areas, Mark, where we can kind of like assuage these doubts. So you can see, as you saw in that demo, the IT team, the developers, they're the ones that create all the different components that marketers will use. So there's no content that's off-brand or that goes against any design system. But the other piece is the rules and permissions in place. So just because I have the ability to create something doesn't mean I always have the ability to publish it. In fact, for some of our pages, we can't just publish anything we want all the time. That image that I actually just did, updated in that demo, that won't be published until creative and the IT team gives their final approval, which I was told will happen within the hour. And you can move these permissions back and forth. And then once developers and IT hear that, then they get really excited about freeing themselves up from kind of these basic web updates. I want to change this image. I want to change this headline, and then start to think about all the different types of innovative projects that they can start working on over the course of the year. So after that conversation, then both teams usually are pretty excited about it.
I like that. While you're talking about permissions, a question just came in. How granular are the permissions for edit rights? For instance, can you lock down certain elements from editors, or is that not functionality yet?
So you can, it depends what they mean when they say elements, but for example, you can be super granular in terms of publishing or even within specific pages. For example, I can't go in and make a change to our homepage. I actually had the ability to publish a page myself. I was working on a super tight deadline for a specific project. But then once that project ended, it went back where everything is in creative review. So for example, you could say that you can update a specific page, but maybe you can't update the homepage. You can't make any changes. Right. If there's a specific piece or content piece that you want to launch, you'd have to put it into either creative review, you can put it into IT review, or you could put it into digital IT review. So the reviews really don't happen necessarily within the elements, but within the respective page for the most part.
Got it. Excellent, thank you. Lynn, question about the cookieless future. What do you believe are the implications of a future without cookies, and how do we expect that to impact marketing strategy?
Yeah, it's a very common question right now because we're all kind of living through it, right? So I really think that marketers just are going to have to get a lot smarter, and they're going to have to do it quickly so that they can actually find a way to make sure that they're providing value to their customers and prospects so people feel comfortable sharing their information. And so marketers are just going to have to get really smarter about, are they providing value add? That value add could be in a promotion, that value add could be in content. And so they need to make sure that they're providing enough content and value add so that people want to share more details about themselves. I'll give you a prime example of a company who I think is doing a bang up job at this. It's King Arthur Baking, right? And so they, during the pandemic, right, everyone was baking. And so what did they do? The way they provided value was by providing recipes, by providing baking classes, by providing a hotline. Like, you can't get more value than that. And so that's, like, I think, a prime example. Marketers need to make sure that they're providing value right away, and that they're ready to do that.
For sure. And I even heard this morning that Gwyneth Paltrow even ate bread during the pandemic. So everyone was going for that baking story, which is great. Eric, do you have a comment on the cookieless future?
Yeah, I think that it's something that may be a little bit short-term scary for some marketers, but I think, as Lynn was kind of alluding to, there's a long-term good here, and it's part of this data agreement or data exchange where, rather than collecting little snippets of information from individual interactions with that kind of third-party data, marketers are really going to have to focus on first-party data and building out a really robust first-party data strategy. And it's something that once someone provides you and willingly gives you their information, you're able to do so much more and be so much more effective with it. That's where we're seeing, and why we're seeing, the rise of customer data platforms and seeing more organizations start to utilize them, because they can really help crystallize that first party data strategy, and not just thinking about how to get people into the very top of your funnel, but how to bring them down to the bottom of your funnel to conversion. But then even beyond that, starting to think about, how do I engage with my most loyal customers? How do I talk to my customers that have spent a certain amount of money with me or have been with me as a customer for 10 plus years? And then thinking about loyalty beyond just signing up for a loyalty program, but rewarding a loyal customer with a great digital experience.
And Eric, while I have you, time's almost up, but I saw a question, where do I start? It's a great question, right? Because you guys have a full suite of products. It can be overwhelming. Where would you advise someone to begin?
So there's a couple different ways I would think about this. But first, just because, and you saw Lynn, she said, here are all these great tools that we use. That doesn't mean you have to use all of them on day one. In fact, I would probably recommend that you don't. What most of our customers do, the ones that we see and tend to be really successful, are the ones who create essentially a digital roadmap for themselves. And maybe for them, the biggest priority is updating their website, like half of the folks who are doing on the line today. But for some of them, maybe they really are trying to think through their analytics or their customer data strategy. And it's bringing in the right tools and solutions at the right time. And the other piece of that is really thinking about when you decide to invest in a specific type of technology, it's not just thinking about that technology solving the problem. You want to think about that technology's ability to integrate and to bring and connect with different systems as well. So kind of buying with that flexibility in mind. But then beyond that, one of the things that we do at Acquia, we have this really interesting and valuable, it's called a vision to value workshop. So we can actually apply this to anything, digital marketing activities, a website. We'll actually go in with you and kind of map out all of the different KPIs that you're focused on, the areas that you're really trying to improve your customer experience. And then we can map solutions to that. Some of them will be ours, but some of them might not be. And then, of course, we have some unbelievable partners. These are digital agencies that have been providing really sound advice, suggestions, and really they'll work to partner with you to figure out what are the types of solutions you might need, what are the solutions you may need next year or in 2 years, and maybe what are the solutions that you really shouldn't focus on in the short term. So there's a couple different avenues there, but I think all of them are important to think through.
Fantastic. Oh my goodness, our time is up. But every time I chat to both Eric and Lynn, it just sounds like the future is even more positive. These tools, these capabilities just keep getting better. Thank you both for your time today.
Thank you,
Mark.
And a big thank you to you for your time and for being part of the conversation, for joining us today. By the way, we'll be reaching out to the lucky winner of our personalization workshop within the next 10 days. So hang on, it's coming. Mark your calendars for our next Experience Acquia event. That's taking place on September the 7th. And we would love to hear from you about future topics and how we could do even better. So please do take our feedback survey. You'll see the link in the notifications tab on the left, and you'll also receive a link over email. Now, as a way of saying thank you for joining us today, we'll be sending you a small token of our appreciation. So keep an eye on your email for more information on that. Oh, and by the way, if your question wasn't answered today, panic not. We will be following up with you directly. Thanks again for joining us, and I will see you again next time.